So today I had my costing practical, and in the school to see, hey, before you graduate during your fifth term, you take this costing practical, and during your fourth term, you take a class called costing and purchasing goods or something like that. But what gets me upset is we take this class during fourth term, and then 6 weeks later, 9 weeks later, they expect us to take this costing practical. I'm like, why can't I take it? The class is over, so it's fresh in my head. But whatever. I got an A in the class, so I was feeling really confident for this costing practical. But I haven't had a class in so long, so I was like, let me go review some of these questions and refresh my memory. And all the practice problems that I did, I got them right. If I didn't get them right, I figured out how they got that answer. So I walked in today, had my calculator, had a good night's sleep, ate pretty good, and I opened a test paper, and there's only 20 questions, only get a whole hour, which sounds like plenty of time, but I'm the kind of person that will take that whole hour. I'm not the last person, because I don't know it, but I'm the last person that doesn't make sure my answers are right, And I have really bad anxiety when I take tests. If the proctor says you have 15 minutes and half your test is done, I'm gonna kick into anxiety mode right there in the spot. Or if I have 5 questions left and 50 or 60 or 70% of the room is already done, I'm in panic mode. So I got really frustrated because a great amount of the questions I didn't know, because I would calculate it with the calculator, and all the answers that I kept getting were not any of the multiple choices. And I was like, what is going on? And I would sit there for 15 minutes on one problem. I'm like, oh my god, just to move on, go to the next question, go back to it, who cares? But I don't know, I got really discouraged, and I'm pretty nervous about it. We also have to do a baking and pastry practical. If you're a baking and pastry student, you take 2 practicals. One is pre-extern, one's post-extern before you graduate. And I took that, and out of 15 kids in my class, only 3 of us passed. Thank God I was one of them. I was not trying to pay extra money to take it or spend my whole weekend taking that practical. That practical was 2 days long, too much stress and anxiety over these 2. I'm just so glad I passed. My first practical, I think I want to say it was 18 to 20 of us there. Only 3 people failed. And the reason why people failed the practical, for the first practical where 3 people failed, was because if you mess up one thing, you're going to be behind, and when you're behind, you're rushing it, and your products are coming as well, and they take off points. The practical I took, the one that where only 3 of us passed, the reason why they failed was because they were late. What part of this exam is that it's timed. And time is very important in the field when you're baking or when you're cooking. You have to get things out when it's time to get out. If someone orders something, you gotta get it out. It doesn't matter, oh, well, I can take my time. That person needs what they ordered. So anyway, they give you a 5-minute grace period if you're not done. But every minute after that is a point taken off. You're only allowed to get 7 points taken off. Once you pass those 7 points, you automatically fail. Because that's considered, I think it's out of 20 points. And you have to get at least 13 right, something like that. And once you get below 13, you fail. So every minute after that, if you're 15 minutes late, you fail, because that's more than 10 minutes off or 10 points off. So a lot of people fail because they didn't get their challah in on time. You have to make a challah bread, you have to make 50 truffles, and you have to make this mousse cake that's built upside down. It's called an entremet. And the whole tricky part of the entremet is that you can't, when you're building the cake upside down, it's an aluminum ring, and the ring is in see-through. So when you're applying the mousse and the cake layers have to be the exact same size. 1/2 inch mousse, 1/2 inch cake, 1/2 inch mousse, 1/2 inch cake, built upside down. And if you have this much mousse, this much cake, they're gonna fail you, or vice versa, they're gonna fail you. And so the whole point is, it's all about skill. The test itself is not hard. I think that the ingredients, the recipes, they're very easy to make, but it's all about skill. Do you know how much, you add a scoop? Well, how much is that? Is that enough? Is there air bubbles? You shake it, you tap it, you do this. Did you bake the cake properly? Is it overdone? Is it overcooked? Is it undercooked? It's a lot of work to put into. So, and then the next day, you take out the freezer, you unmold it, you unmold it, and you put a thin layer of glaze on top, and thin enough that you see through to like the color of the mousse, but not so thin you take a mousse off and you're like trying to like get it like nice and even. And then you put chocolate decorations on the side of it, which in tempering chocolate takes time. Making truffles has to be exactly 50. If you're one over, one under, they fail you. The challah knot, what's difficult about the challah is that if you make your dough, depending on if it's too wet or too dry, the proofing time will be different. Okay, so if you underproof your challah, underproofing is your best bet. If your challah is overproofed, it's gonna have that alcohol kind of taste, and they would fail you for that. So if anything, underproof your challah. I mean, I'm not trying to say underproof, but like if you can't get it exactly proofed, underproof it. It's like, don't overproof. They will fail you, like 100% fail you, because they don't want that alcohol salty kind of taste. But the challah knot, you have to do what was it like? I think it's two 4 braids and one 6 braid knot, or vice versa, or 2 6 braids, 1 4 braid, whatever. To me, the 6 braid is a lot easier. The 4 braid, because it's too simple, is kind of difficult. I know it makes no sense, but it's like, when you have a 6 braid, your mind already kind of does autopilot mode, does the knots for you. Then when you get to the 4 braid, you start doing that, and then like you get to the end, you go, what did I just do? And it's like, and if you keep unraveling it and redoing it, you're reshaping the strands, and then your challah comes out lopsided. When it proofs, one side was like, instead of it proofing like straight, it'll proof on a slant, and then it'll bake off like a slant, and then it's like the practical points for it being ugly. And then you have to do the temperature when you're baking it, which is the right temperature. Take it out, change parchment so it's clean when you present it or whatever. But the practical, like, it's intense. You need timelines down to the tooth. Like, my timeline was so like detailed that if I went brain dead at 2:00, I'll check my timeline. What's going on at 2:00? If I'm on schedule, 2:00. Oh, you need to be applying your mousse. Oh, that's right. It'll come back to me and I'm doing my thing. Like, your timeline is your lifesaver. Your timeline has to be good. It cannot be some BS. Can't be like, oh, for half hour do this. Oh, for hour do this. It has to be down to every, like, not every, like, 5-10 minutes, but, like, get it down in detail to the point that it makes sense to you, because all it needs to make sense to is you. The chef doesn't need to see it, even being cleanliness, they grade you on that too. You say you can't be dirty and like all these like buckets and like mise en place cups everywhere. It has to be clean. I mean, it's not like, I'm not trying to make it sound like it's some crazy exam, but it's like, don't go in there thinking it's nothing. People feel like that. Oh, I got this. Oh, I've done this thing a million times. Get in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't do that. But I'm just grateful that I passed, because I can't imagine spending my weekend doing that when I could have been outside hanging out with my friends, or getting some sun, going to the beach, going to see the movie, But on that note, let's see here. How many more weeks do I have? 8 more weeks till graduation and until my trip to France. So I just told my father, because I didn't get a chance to tell him because it wasn't really official yet. And I was afraid that, because my mother, she's one of those parents who, like, Facebooks everything her child does. Like, both me and my brother. So I was afraid that when she Facebooked it, he would have read it, and, like, I didn't tell him first, But he didn't know, and I told him. He was really happy, and I'm starting driving again, trying to get my license. I mean, I did it during externship, like, taking lessons for, like, 6 months. Okay, like, 5 months. And right before I came back to school in December, I took my road test, and I failed, unfortunately. So, I got a friend who was allowing me to use her car, and I couldn't pay her gas because I'm spending so much money on this trip. So I was like, the last guy I was using for his car, I was paying him gas every time I went to go. He was charging me like $15 in gas every single time like we went driving, because I went driving for a good like hour or two, So that's pretty decent. But I told her, look, I can't pay you any gas or any money. Like, I'm sorry, I'm really broke from this trip. Like, she said, no, it's okay. Like, I owe you, whatever. I was, oh, that's so nice. She has a Toyota Camry. The other guy had a Mazda. That Mazda, man, like, you tap that pedal and it zooms. I'm not used to that. The car I practiced in was a heavy Mercedes. So it's like, it's not saying that you got to put pressure on the pedal, but it's like, it took a little bit more, tapping on the pedal for it to go. And it wasn't one of those tap it, zoom. It was like, you tap it and it went according to how much you put pressure on the pedal. I don't want to see these cars nowadays. You tapping the zooms off. Who got time for that? Like, okay, because look at you going fast, but it's like, I'm not sure it's an accident. If I can't afford it, I'm not hitting it. That's what my boyfriend told me. He was like, you can afford that car? Don't hit it. It was like just that simple. I was like, come on. But this video is getting long, so I don't know. I just want to let you guys know how practical it was during the school, and it's costing practical. It's like, But any more video suggestions, let me know, and I'll be happy to do a video. Oh, I'm in a blue jacket. You know, my name's on it. It's kind of cool. But this class that I'm in is called Apple Pie Bakery Cafe. It's this bakery in my school, open to the public. And I'm in the front of the house right now. Last block I was in the back of the house. That's why I wore the white, because I'm in the back and making everything. Now I'm selling everything. I'm talking to customers. I'm DRing. I'm on the floor. I'm giving out food and doing orders, running back and forth, like packing everybody's stuff up. Like, I'm in the front of the house now. It's okay. I like it. It's more personable. It was more about talking to customers and being friendly and really handling your product properly. So, and we have lectures before. If you're a PM, you have lectures in the morning, so that's good. Tomorrow I switched though. Today was my last day on PM schedule. Tomorrow I start at 6 a.m. to about 3:30. So, I gotta go head to the gym soon, but I'll see you guys later. Bye.